Alright guys, so it's near the end of December, and I thought it's about time we do an update on the trees. I haven't done one of these big mass collection videos in a while. Obviously the bench, you've all seen the bench many times before. Most of the trees are on the bench, but you are thinking, oh, maybe it looks a little bare. If you've been following the community tabs, you'll know why, and I will show you that in the next part of this video after we've gone through these trees here. So yeah, first one over here is my Azalea. You can see obviously all the trees are just coming into autumn now, so a few little old leaves are being dropped on this one. I haven't actually done much with this tree. It flowered really well, quite a late flowering this year, but really proud with how that one's coming along. Obviously the Cotoneaster, little marmade tree, really love the pot this is in actually. Created loads of berries this year that the birds have been picking off. That one's done really well. Obviously we've got the burning bush. If you follow my community tab, you will have seen this one because I did post some really nice autumn colour photos of it a couple of weeks ago now. Obviously it's got more red since. Really like this tree actually, love the pot it's coming. I find it really great pot, that one. Obviously this one here, I have no idea what this tree is, to be honest with you, so if you do, please tell me. I found it in a garden centre in the dead section. It was about £3. It's got these really nice twin trunks, and all this foliage is new basically this year. It more or less had no branch structure to it until I cut it right back, and then as you can see I'm trying to keep it in a little triangular shape, and we're just going to make a little twin trunk feature, and then eventually I might try and extend this left-hand trunk here up a bit taller, and we'll kind of have two separate trees possibly, but we'll see how the growth period of that tree goes. Obviously the next tree is the corkbark elm. You guys have seen this in quite a few videos. If you can see by the colour of the leaves, they are just starting to turn yellow, so we're just getting into that autumn colour, so I can't wait for autumn actually. I always love trees when we get to autumn, but yeah, this one's doing really well. Had lots of growth on it, it's had lots of trims, so yeah. Next one is the Potentilla. This one's had a pretty good year. We had one bad period with it unfortunately, where basically all the leaves got burned in that massive heat wave we had in the UK, at which point I rubbed them all off because they just came off the branches, and yeah, it regrowed all this growth, and it's been fine since. It even put out a second flower wind after that. Now we go up to the top row again. We've got the European Larch. This one's put on quite a bit of growth on its tips, which is really nice. We did lose unfortunately over last winter one branch at the top there, but it's not too bad, and it does need a bit of a clear up, but as you can see the needles are starting to go yellow. Some have already fallen off, so that's coming up to its autumn mode. Obviously with all the trees, I'll just move this out of the way quick. You can see one of my Korean hornbeams. Absolutely love Korean hornbeams. I did buy 2 of them last year, this being one of them, and then I've got, well, I didn't buy the other one last year, but I have the other one as well. But these, I can't wait for these to come into colour, because Korean hornbeams, unlike normal hornbeams, English European ones that kind of just go yellow and drop, these ones have lovely red and lovely colours. So these are going to look really great. This one you might remember is just my normal Sojo Maple that I was trying to make a marmade version out of. This one's had an awful year. Basically the leaves got burnt. I took them off, it regrew new leaves. They got burnt at the end of the growing season, and then I basically took them off, and I don't know if this will survive, to be honest. I've had massive dieback. As you can see, this whole bit up here is dead, but it's putting out these new leaves, and obviously it's the complete wrong time for putting out new leaves, which isn't great. But if it survives, that'll be really great, because I'd like to still be able to do something with this tree. The idea was to bring it down anyway eventually, so I'm not too worried about losing the top half. I'll just take that off over winter. obviously we go along, you've got my mountain maple. This one has got some little thing on the leaves. It hasn't affected it too much. I probably could find something to get that off, but I've more or less just left it because it's not really done much to the tree. The leaves are going to fall off anyway, but all I've done with this one is just been pinching, trying to create a much denser growth on it, because it's got a really nice trunk, this one. Now obviously we move along. This one I won't talk about much. You've seen this in my last video. Doing great. This one I'll have to come inside soon because it's getting a bit colder now, but we'll just move that over there. And then we have the next is the Chinese elm. Really not much to say about this. It's doing its thing, it's growing. It's definitely loved being in this new pot. When I potted it up last spring, or this spring just gone, it does have this little plant growing in it. No idea what that is. I'm going to leave it just because I want to see what it is. But yeah, definitely going to at some point have to deal with this root, possibly in the next spring. Try and cut this root off, because it's really annoying me. And at some point in the next couple of years, I actually do want to bring it into a much smaller pot, because this pot is quite a big pot for it. I think it could go much smaller, probably the size of more the Korean Hornbeam at the back over there. Obviously my Deceojo Maple, this is one of those cheap ones I bought from Greenwood. It's doing its thing, it's growing. Leaves are starting to turn a nice red now. And then this is obviously my sacrificial branch. I'm just trying to train this to be the new leader and actually add some branch structure into it. So yeah, if we move over, obviously got the Dawn Redwoods. Nothing really there. I've had really bad luck with them in the past, with them being burnt. But this year, basically, I've just tried to keep them in the shade of the Chinese elm and everything, and it's really helped them actually. They're not burnt. They've put on quite a lot of growth. I'm not going to be trimming them for a while, but come spring, these will be taken out of this pot and put with some other Dawn Redwoods that you'll see in a minute. And we're going to be making a little forest, my first forest. Obviously this one here you won't have seen before. This is my uncle's tree actually that I was tasked to look after. Basically it kept growing leaves and dying. The leaves just died off, and I took it, I basically just kept it watered and fed it, and I believe it to be a Judas tree, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's got some lovely leaves on it, but he was kind of asking, oh yeah, when can you have it back? And I said, well, you can have it back obviously at any time, but if you want it to actually look like anything, you're going to have to wait a while. Patience is key, obviously, as you all know. Down here, Scots pine. I need to really do some work on this one. We'll wait for the next candles to come out and we'll try and prune it properly this year or the next year, and try and bring the growth in a bit more. I want to keep this one in a marmee form. It's got quite a nice thick moving trunk, so if we can bring the growth back in towards the tree, that would be really handy. Obviously my sugar maple, lots of growth on it. Cut this back quite a bit this year to try and get the buds down the bottom. We do have a lower bud down here, quite a few of them, which is really nice. I'm not sure about autumn colours on this maple actually. I think they're quite boring, so that won't be too interesting. But there was two of these and unfortunately one did not survive, which is sad. But obviously I did kind of take them up at the wrongish time of year. It was a bit kind of early, you know, after the buds had kind of popped, so thank God this one has survived. Obviously here is the spruce tree you saw in one of my recent videos, surviving quite well. We did lose one branch, but there are little bits of growth that have come up. It would be good to see what happens to this tree next year. The wounds have healed over really well. Like this one here is like more like I could take this off. You can see that you can't even see the wound anymore. Healed really fast. That's why I did it at the time I did, because I read something online basically saying with the sap running through the tree it should heal much faster than obviously you would do in winter. So yeah, good to see if this one survives. We have got some new growth. There's some new growth up here that has come out since, but next year this will just be left completely alone and we'll see what happens to it. Oh. If we go up to the top row, Orange Tree Maple, starting to turn a really nice red colour coming into the autumn. This one will do much more work on come spring with repotting and maybe wiring and just a bit more branch selection. Around the back here is my Enoki Cyprus, if you can see it behind the Beech Tree. I don't like this tree, I'm going to be brutally honest, I do not like this tree. It was a £10 tree from a garden centre, one of my first trees. It's alive, it's not doing anything bad, but it definitely needs a bit of attention next year. Down here, if I can get this into shot, is the Beech Tree. As you all know, you've all seen the Beech Tree. We're going to do another video of this come spring, where we'll do some more branch selection. As you can see on all the branches here, it's got all its next year's buds that have come up now, so we can kind of see where the leaves are going to be, and then eventually these leaves will drop. But Beech trees hold on to their leaves for quite a while, but we'll just leave it until the tree does what it wants to do. Around here, obviously one of my junipers. I did a massive cut to this, so I've just left this, and I will now until next year, before we cut this back and give it a nice prune. Obviously my Chinese juniper cuttings, one's done really well, really long. This one's put leaves on, but not really done much else, unfortunately. We've got Azalea cuttings, we'll have to deal with them in spring, put them into their own little marmite pots. My Deceojo Juniper. Sorry for the cut there. This is going to need more work. As you saw in the recent videos, I've explained what the plan is with this tree, so go back and watch that. It's only a couple of videos ago. Now we're going on to the second bench. This is more the project bench. So we got a Wisteria, this one here. We bought this for the garden, the dog gnawed it, and then it grew this. So we're going to see what happens with this. I don't think I'm going to be able to bonsai it. I know you can with Wisterias, but I think this will end up possibly just being planted back in the garden somewhere. Obviously we got my European Hornbeam, which is another tree that the dog gnawed, which has come back. This is going into its autumn mode now. We've got two Beech trees here, which I managed to collect from someone who was digging them up already from their garden, but it was at the wrong time of year, so they've already lost their leaves about a month ago. So it's still green under the bark, so they're still alive at the moment. So I'm hoping they just went into early autumn mode, and next spring they will. It's got buds on it, so hopefully. But they've got really nice movement to them. I was thinking maybe a twin trunk with these ones, because this one's really small, this one's much bigger. So I think a twin trunk would definitely work well. Next tree is the I believe it to be a sycamore. No idea what it is. I don't really like it, to be honest. I love the thickness of it, but the leaves are just, it's hard to do anything with. But we'll see. When it comes to spring, I think I'm going to do a major trunk chop and all that sorts. Going out, we've got one of my privets that I thought was dying, and then it came back, and then for ages it had this really crap green growth on it. Just recently we've got this and this back shoot that have come out, so it's still alive, it's still doing something. I'm going to do some chunk chopping. I want to chop this top of the trunk off up here, and then there's a bit here as well that we need to cut off. Obviously this one here, this tall one, is going to be a possible literati style tree in the future. If you go up to here, hopefully the camera, I don't think the camera will focus, but around this level you can kind of see us some buds. So I think what I'm going to do is cut it off about here in the winter, and then we're going to grow all of this growth out here, let it all grow out, and then I'll do some big bend maybe next year to make it literati, because it could be like this, but it's really long at the moment. It's too tall, I think, really for a literati, unless I did massive bends. But being an oak, I don't think it will bend massively. Obviously these ones are my Dawn Redwoods, bought these from Heron's Bonsai. These are going to be part of the forest along with the smaller two next spring, and they're just now losing their leaves. I've not done anything with this. This one doesn't look good at all. I don't know why. I really don't. I have no luck with Redwood, so the forest might not be a thing, depending on how many of these survive. I really hope they do, but it's just a matter of waiting. They've been watered, they've been kept moist, but other than that I have no idea. Moving on, we've got the Fuji cherry showing its autumn colours. This one will have another prune back in spring, because I want to bring it in a bit more, maybe give it a wire. And then at the back here, the last one on the bench, as you've seen in the videos before, is my privet forest. I do like this one actually. I don't normally like privet too much. It's always seemed a bit meh as a bonsai, but I think this one's got some real potential. Once these branches start making their way out, I think we can definitely create a forest of sorts here. Definitely with this, you know, it's rare I think to find a raft type growth. It's, you know, I don't see many of those types of bonsais. So yeah, that's it for the bench. Moving on, next will be my other main trees, my bigger trees, the more expensive ones. Just quick, before the main trees, I completely forgot about this one. If you follow my community post, you will have seen this. This is my Shikira, I think that's how you say it. It's one of a really nice maple, really dense, compact growth, also known as lion's mane for some people. But the aim with this one, like with my orange dream that failed, is to air layer all of these three bits, like here, here, and around here. We'll get some trees on the top, because it might be compact, but they do have some branch structure in here. And then down the bottom, obviously, we've got branch structure. Give it a cut back on some of these to turn that into a bonsai itself down there. So yeah, this one is supposedly got really nice autumn colours as well, so I cannot wait for when this starts to turn into its reds and oranges and yellows and whatnot. These are my three main trees up on their new podiums in the borders of my garden. First one up is the Arakawa Maple. You've seen this in a recent video where we tidied it up, but it's looking great up here. Leaves get lots of sun, much better viewing when your trees are higher up. All the leaves slowly starting to turn red now, so soon autumn will be coming. On to the next one is my Korean Hornbeam. This is situated to the right of my Arakawa Maple. This one, we lost one branch unfortunately, which I had to cut off over the winter, but it was one hidden away, so we didn't see it. But as you can see, the leaves are starting slowly to get that tinge of yellow, and eventually we'll see lots of oranges and reds and yellows all over this tree. It's going to look amazing. And then finally, on the third and last podium, is my Trident Maple. If you follow my community tabs, you would have seen the pot that I bought for this tree, ready for it to be planted in spring. A bit of a size down, but this pot is so big, and it will definitely look much better once we do a bit of branch structure work as well. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Hopefully in the next big update video, most of these trees will be in their nice bright autumn colours, ready for autumn viewing.